Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're looking at this 4-game early slate on DraftKings. A pretty straightforward slate, no other concerns or issues that we really have to be paying attention to. But always so important to keep up to the minute with that, just in case any pop-up showers do occur. But as for this, like the pitching side of things, I mean, salary is pretty much where it should be. You have the best pitcher in Cortez with the highest strikeout rate going up against the worst offense, arguably. So Cortez is going to certainly be your SP1, especially in cash. And then you have your two worst starting pitchers going up against the two best offenses. So it kind of makes the bats pretty simple as well. So we're not going to spend too much time on like all of that. We'll kind of look into some more individual plays, some value plays that might stick out, and just kind of go game by game with it. So we ranked them right here for the pitchers. I got Cortez up at the top, Lauer, Kluber, and then Pivetta. In the mid tier, Stripling, and then Plesac. And then I'm just fading Heaney and Hutchinson, the KC pitcher in Detroit, just going up against the Yankees, going up against Toronto. I just don't see a way that that's going to turn out all too well. As for the bats, I just put them in the tier 1, tier 2. I didn't really go like top stack and then GPP just because there's only 8 teams. But tier 1, it was Toronto, New York, Milwaukee, and then Cleveland. And then tier 2, I put Boston, Tampa Bay, Detroit, and KC. So let's talk a little bit more about it, get a little bit deeper. I already mentioned Cortez, best matchup, high strikeout rate, all that. The pitching, it's kind of already organized in terms of strikeout rates. So Cortez has the highest strikeout rate on the entire slate. Pivetta on the season has the second highest strikeout rate. Lauer's third, and so forth. So we don't really have to talk too much about that just because we kind of already know the order of everything. But Pivetta going up against Milwaukee, a tough matchup. Going up against Milwaukee, they have a lot of great left-handed bats, and even Renfroe, a righty, just does great against right-handed pitching. So Pivetta, he's in a tough matchup. He had a good start against Cleveland last time out. Cleveland really kind of has been struggling offensively after the All-Star break, though. So I don't know how much we want to look into that. But yeah, he was really struggling entering the month into the All-Star break. But before that, he was fine. I still have him ranked 4th, just because he is more expensive than the other guys, more expensive than Lauer, more expensive than Kluber, and I think has the toughest matchup overall. Eric Lauer going up against Boston. Boston has really, really struggled to generate anything offensively in the past like half month. I think it went back 14 games, and they're averaging 2.9 runs per game. Guys like JD Martinez have just like fallen off the cliff offensively. Pretty much their whole offense has just like disappeared. So that's kind of why I have Lauer up in the second spot. It's cheaper than Pivetta, going up against Boston, who just can't seem to score any runs at all. And then Kluber I have 3rd, also over Pivetta, kind of for a similar reason. Cleveland, again, but Cleveland, they're kind of like Boston in that they've really been struggling to score after the All-Star break here. In their 9 games after the All-Star break, they've only scored 4 or more runs, they scored 4 or fewer runs in 6 of those 9. So they're kind of struggling to generate some offense here. Kluber, I think he can provide you a nicer floor. He had a start against Toronto that was a disaster, and these 2 starts against Baltimore, we talked about in the last video. Kluber against Baltimore, he just cannot figure them out. He's faced them 5 times already this season and just can't figure it out. But everybody else, take out those Baltimore games, he's been doing pretty fine. Nice floor games for him. So nice strikeout rate, all the metrics, looks fine. So I think with Cleveland struggles on offense, Kluber could be a nice 3rd spot there, and then Pivetta ranking things out. In the lower tier, Stripling, top dog. Do I want to say dog? I don't know. But Toronto going up against Detroit, right-handers against Detroit. We do like to target them. His K rate isn't anything special or it's anything to get super excited about, but a 7.4 price tag for a starting pitcher who's probably going to be in line for the win going up against Detroit. I think he just makes for a pretty simple, favor play in that lower half of the pitching here. And then Plesac's the only guy I'm going to be targeting outside of Stripling down here. Plesac going up against Tampa Bay, who is just an entirely different offense with all of their injuries. They don't have Margot, they don't have Ramirez, they don't have Wander Franco, they don't have Zunino. So there's so many guys that Tampa Bay's out on the IL. Lower half their lineup is just like, who even are these guys? So that's kind of why I put Plesac there. He's struggling on the season, GPP only for me. But yeah, so those are kind of the pitchers. here's the rankings for the bats. So let's just kind of go through the bats. Let's go through the games actually. Cleveland, Tampa Bay, we'll start off with these guys. I already mentioned Tampa Bay, just the injuries that they've had. Here we go. Yeah. So I didn't put in PA either. But they just have so many injuries to their lineup. Their offense has really just been struggling to get everything done overall. I mean, if you do go with the Tampa Bay stack, I mean, it's totally fine. I mean, Plesac's nothing special. He can or certainly allow a handful of runs here. Brandon Lowe, Diaz, Choi, Paredes. The issue is that they're just so expensive. Like 5.5K for Lowe. Do I want to be paying that much money at second base? Maybe not, because we'll talk a little bit later with Toronto. I mean, they're battling some injuries as well. You might get Biggio in a nice leadoff spot again. Springer is out. He's day-to-day, so remains to be seen. But do I want to pay up that much for second base? I don't know. I kind of want to be paying up in some other spots, in my opinion, on this slate. So Tampa Bay, I think they're just kind of like a leftover kind of team. But if you do stack them in a GPP, I mean, I guess I'm totally fine with it, just because Plesac's not a super great pitcher. And they're probably going to have some pretty lower ownership. On the Cleveland side of things, I love a lot of their guys, especially their lefties. I mean, obviously Jose Ramirez is in there, but Steven Kwan, if he's leading off for sure at 4.2K. Josh Naylor, he has the best numbers against right-handed pitching on the entire team, and he's only 3.9K. Nolan Jones, we've talked about him a lot at just 2.9K. So here's four guys for Cleveland I think can really start you off with a nice Cleveland stack. Throw in Cortez. Let's throw in Lauer, just kind of see where we're at. So even if you throw in Cortez and Lauer, you can easily get a healthy Cleveland stack just because they do have some nice value on them. The issue with a Cleveland stack, it's kind of the one issue that I noticed while building, is that they kind of go all in the same positions that you want to go with the Yankees bats or Toronto. So are you going to go Josh Naylor at first base, or would you rather have Anthony Rizzo or Vlad Guerrero against those two pitchers? I definitely, obviously, you'd want to go Yankees and Toronto, but maybe that's why Cleveland could be a great GPP play for you, just pivoting to Naylor at first base. Outside, like other guys on the Yankees, it's your usual guys. It's Judge, it's Carpenter, it's Benintendi. It's your usual guys that you would be going. But again, you fill up some outfield spots pretty quickly. It's tough to get Steven Kwan in there. It's tough to get Nolan Jones in there, because all of a sudden, that Cleveland and New York stack, they just kind of butt heads with one another in the positions that you want to be targeting with each of their stacks. But New York, they're going to be a top stack on us, or for us today. I think we ranked them second. Yeah, just because of the pricing and the salaries. Toronto is a little bit cheaper. On the other side, KC. Speaking of a lineup of like who are these guys, KC without Mendesi, they lost Benintendi to the Yankees. Olivares, Bobby Witt, he's day to day. They're going to be rostering a real weak lineup out here today. Leverage stack only, just to kind of go against the Cortez ownership that's going to be there. Detroit going up against Stripling. We'll move on to the third game. Detroit at Toronto. Javier Baez has fantastic numbers against Stripling. That's a 10 at-bat sample size, so really not a sample size at all. But he still has hit 7. He's got 7 hits in 10 at-bats against him. So Javier Baez, fine option for him. Eric Haas, absolutely. But it's like the switch hitters. It's the lefties that you would be targeting for Detroit. Just hit it. Green, don't mind him at all. Candelario would be one of the main targets for me if I was going in here. 3.2K. Castro, 2.6, another guy with great numbers, but again, another first baseman. So like first baseman is absolutely loaded today. Let's go to first base. Vlad Guerrero, absolutely going to be interested in him. Tellez, a lefty against righty, double home run upside for sure. Rizzo, lefty against righty on this Yankees offense, for sure going to have interest in him. Who did I just miss? Naylor, here we go. Naylor for Cleveland. Well, some of the best numbers in the league against right-handed pitching, 3.9K at first base. You have Biggio. If he, again, is in the leadoff spot with Springer out. Leadoff spot, lefty-righty, 2.5K. Love it. And I just talked about Castro, 2.6K. So, like, first base is absolutely loaded. I think the majority of people are going to be paying up at this spot, so maybe paying down is the way that you could go. Toronto, on the other side of things, I already mentioned Springer, Bichette. They kind of have the day-to-day tags on them, so who knows? It sounds like Springer's going to be more likely to return than Bichette is. He could even be back later today. So make sure you're paying attention to that. If Springer is out, you could easily see Biggio being in that leadoff spot once again. If so, he makes for a great value play, and you can even put him at second base, 2.5K. But it's your usual guys for Toronto. I don't really have to spend too much time on that. You guys know this by now. On the Milwaukee side of things, Milwaukee, Boston, I'm going to be targeting the lefties. I'm going to be targeting Renfroe as well. So Renfroe, Tellez, Yelich, and Wong. Those are like your main four that I would be targeting. If you want to go with Adames over Renfroe, totally fine with that. It's going to be kind of tough to jam in both these guys. Milwaukee, they're not priced expensively, but like they don't have a lot of cheap plays in them like that the other guys do. So even if you go with this 5-man Milwaukee stack and go like super high, go Cortez. Even if you go lower at Plesac, 3.6K. So like it's totally possible to get this nice Milwaukee stack in there. I think Adames has like 16 home runs so far this season against right-handed pitching. So even though he's a righty, he does very well against right-handed pitching. So yeah, 16 of his 20 home runs. So he does fine. I love this Milwaukee stack. Winds are going to be blowing out at Fenway today pretty heavily, I think. I saw like 15 miles per hour. So even better. We got those left-handed bats going up against Pivetta. Certainly could have some home runs there. On the Boston side of things, this is just, I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. I know I have them ranked super high up here, but like, do I like them more than Kansas City going up against Cortez? Yeah, probably. Do I like them more against Detroit? I mean, maybe. And then Tampa Bay, I already mentioned all the injuries in their lineup and how they've been struggling. So maybe you want to put Tampa Bay over Boston. I don't know. It's just tier 2. It's just nothing to get super excited about. As I mentioned, JD Martinez has just like, it's been ugly for him. I just kind of scroll through. But yeah, it's been real rough for him as of late. It's been real rough for this Boston offense. But if they do get it going, it's going to be your usual guys. It's going to be JD Martinez and Bogarts. Duran's cheap for sure. Refsnyder, he's cheap. And yeah, so that kind of covers the slate. It's pretty straightforward, all things considered. You got Cortez as your number 1 pitcher. You got the Yankees and Toronto as like your top 2 offenses. Cleveland, Milwaukee, I think those are my favorite 2 GPP plays. And then yeah, just kind of filling in the blanks with everything else. And yeah, so good luck in your contest. I think we got another video coming out for the main slate. Mega Roar is going to have that one covered, so go support him. Check that one out. That should be happening later on in the day. If not, please be nice to him. He's got NASCAR to cover with these videos too. So come a little bit of slack, but we'll be back tomorrow with the Sunday video. And yeah, so good luck in your contests, and we will see you in the next video.